my name is Daranda Hinkey. I am from Fort McDermitt, Nevada, and I went to school at Southern Oregon University. I majored in environmental science and policy, and I chose this degree path because I was super interested in the outdoors. I was always outside hiking, picking pine nuts. And it was always a family get together. And so I always knew I didn't want to be stuck behind a desk and I wanted to be outside. And so I thought environmental science was the best career path for me. And once I got into it, it was really interesting. And I came in as a freshman thinking I was going to be a hydrologist, going to go on to master's. And then I figured out that a different environmental science degree of restoration ecology was more suited for me. The hardest thing for me for college was time management, and I think it's also the most important thing because you're going through school, you're going through life, you might have to work and things like that, and you're really just trying to balance your life. And so with me, I had sports and school and my life to keep up with, and time management was the most important thing just because I did have to miss some classes for sports. And so it was very challenging, but I made it through it. I have done it my whole life, and so it went well. What it was like to be an athlete in college, and the first word that comes to my mind was it was so much fun. I had a lot of opportunities, and I was very lucky to have a good coach and good teammates and a good athletic program who believed in me, but also was looking to my future and helped me on a more life and athlete aspect. So that was really great. And on trips, basketball trips, I was able to see new cities, and I had unforgettable memories that I'll keep forever, and I made lifetime friends. And I also was able to see people on the way who played at other colleges, who were other Native athletes, and so it was really fun. And so not all of it was really easy. I had to work through a lot of adversity from a basketball standpoint. I'm very short. I was smaller than a lot of players, so I had to work really hard. But then on the other hand, our team had, we didn't have a basketball court for the first 3 years I was there. And so that's most of the time I was at college. And so just working through those adversity, it made it fun. I struggled at times, but then there was other times where I had a lot of fun, and it was just really fun to be around other athletes as well. I think that made it a really community-like feel. And SUU, it was great. And I think that, going to college, it was a dream come true, especially just to play college basketball as well. And so ever since I was a little girl, I always knew I wanted to play basketball, especially in college. And so I made that come true, and just it feels so good. My advice for students who want to play sports in college is to just get used to being comfortable with being uncomfortable, because there's going to be times where you're not the best player on the team anymore like you were in high school, and that you have to keep working and you have to keep your passion for basketball or sports in general, because there's going to be a lot of times where it's going to be really tiring, and you feel like it's too hard and the coaches are too hard on you. But in the end, it's your teammates and yourself that have to just keep pushing, and never let your guard down. Always be ready to play, because there was times where I was underclassman and I felt like I wasn't getting as much playing time as I wanted. But there was a time when somebody got hurt, and my coach said, now it's my time to step up. And so you just always never know when your moment's going to come, and you really got to seize your moment in basketball. You might get 20 to maybe a full game of playing time, but in that time you just gotta seize your moment and play like you know how to play. Don't get too much in your head. And from an athletic aspect, you're always working harder, you're working out. And I think we always forget about the mental aspect of sports, is that 20% of it is athletics and 80% of it is mental toughness and the mental aspect of it, because there's going to be times where, like I said, it gets really hard and you're going through a tough time or whatever else. And you just got to know when to be mentally tough. I think it's really important to practice that as well. And another piece of advice I would have for students who want to play in college is to write down your goals. Grab a piece of paper, write down some really wild goals, and then some more easily achievable goals. And during that time, go back and reflect and see where you're at in that list. And I've done this before. I've seen things that I've crossed off and some things that I want to change. I think that's really important, is to, always continuously go forward, but you might not be going for your goals that you already set out for. You might be going for something else and you might have not even thought about it. And so I think reflecting and having a goals list is really important. So some of the things I suggest for students if they feel isolated is to reach out to people. And I think that's so important, because it might not just be, a friend or family from home, but maybe somebody that's closer to you at your dorm, getting to know just your classmates, sitting next to people that you like. Building a study group is really important for me, because I had the best times at the library, just hanging out with some friends, but also, doing homework, and it felt like they were keeping me accountable and I was keeping them accountable, and it was really fun. And then also, finding friends and making new ones and having game nights. I think if you isolate yourself too much and you're too self-centered at that time, or maybe you just feel like you're isolated, I think it's really important to not isolate yourself too much. It's that, you have to reach out to people. And I know that might be hard sometimes, but in the long run, it feels so much better when you have some sort of social aspect in your life. And maybe that might even just be self-care and going outside to study and sit in the sun for 30 minutes, or having a self-care day. I think those are really important, and it's really good to have a balance between your social needs and your self-care needs. And having that balance between those things won't make you feel as isolated. You have your alone time and then you have your social time, and it just feels good to just balance everything. I'm not sure if that's just me or not, but in the long run, it feels a lot better. So some advice I would give to a high school student preparing for college is to come into college and come into life with a really open mind, because like I've said before, you might be shooting for something, you might be having a goal, but when you come back and reflect on that goal, you might not have that. You might be somewhere really close or maybe in a different direction. And I think it's really important to come in with an open mind. And it's not just school. When you go to college, it's, growing up and your academics, and then, physically, spiritually, whatever it is to you. But it's really important to come in open to learn about school, about new things, about yourself and, your life values. And college is a really awesome and special time because you build that. And, you're not always going to be at the very top when you come out of college. You might still be figuring it out and working your way through it. But I think that's the beauty in it, is the beauty in the struggle. And so I think it's really important to invest that time into being open-minded. And I have managed my finances as a college student in a few different ways. I think it is very trial and error for a lot of people. My error was one time where I thought that I can pull out $100 out of my bank account every week, and whatever I didn't use that week, I would just roll over to the next week. But this one was really hard for me in the long run because I didn't consistently go to the bank and grab that $100 a week at the same time. But in the first couple weeks, I think it worked really well. And then I just think it's a trial and error for people. So one thing that did help me was I budgeted out my 10 weeks because I went to a school that had 3 terms instead of 2 semesters. So it was 10 weeks out of 1 term. And so I budgeted out, whatever money I had, what scholarships I got back. And I was really privileged and, fortunate to have money that came back and that I received from scholarships. So, just each term I tried to, spend some money or have money that I had for, personal things, self-care, coffee run, things like that. And then also things that I absolutely needed to pay or use. And so I definitely think this one is a trial and error for a lot of people. Some things work for others, some things don't. So. The funniest thing that has happened to me on campus are all of the inside jokes that we have at SOU, at Southern Oregon University. We kind of just have like jokes about, the community, and because Ashton's really down to earth, very environmental, and very just hippie almost. And so I think I got so used to it that I never really noticed when new people on their visits, on basketball visits, would come to campus and just ask about certain things. And there's a bunch of deer in Ashland, and they just hang out on people's lawns, they hang out on the campus, and it's just very normal now. But I remember taking a basketball recruit on a walk through campus, and there was just a bunch of deer, and they were sitting there and just watching us, and she thought it was not normal. And I just thought it was like, I just walked past a deer, not thinking one thing about it. And I just think I was so funny to think that, 2 years back, that I would have not thought that was normal. It's so weird. There's deer right here. Why aren't people shooting at it? I don't know. So I just think that was really funny. I am most thankful about my educational experience is just how it has shaped me as a person, and through an academic side, a more personal growth side. And so everything I've learned here or just in Ashland has been really enlightening, and I'm so glad that I was able to go to a college where I liked it. I had really good friends. It was a really good community. And I think that it's just really important to, find your path, find your reason of like why you're doing this, and go down that path. And for me, I took an environmental science degree, and so I knew that I wanted to do something with the outdoors, with youth, and more of Indigenous youth. And so my goals were just like to be set on those sort of things. And I think that SOU and my educational experience, it really shaped me and helped me get to that point. And I've been seeing that a lot with work now. It helped me a lot. And then on a more personal side, I think that I've grown so much from when I was, 18 to 22. And so it's just really funny to think about how when I was 18, I thought I knew the world. And then at 23, I'm like, oh, wow, I did not know the world at all. But I'm so glad that I was able to do this and go to school and, have a really good experience. I think that is the most thankful thing I am for going to college, is just being able to just go to college, and so some advice I have for Native students moving far away from college is that this is gonna probably be 2 to 5 years out of your life to go to college, and it's just so worth it. Home will always be there, and I know it's really tough to go away from family and siblings and cousins and aunts and everything like that, but I think you just got to be strong, because even though you don't see their support right there in front of you, they're always rooting for you. They always have your back. They're just one call away. And so in college, it gets hard, but you just got to put your head down and get through it. And from my experience, it wasn't always easy. There was times where I was like, oh man, I miss my brothers. I feel like I'm missing out on their life. And, I wish I could go home, but I just remember being a little girl telling my grandpa that I was going to go to college, that I was going to make it, and that always stuck in my head, that I was not going to quit. And I can't quit sports, I can't quit school, I just have to keep pushing through. And so some days are easy and some days are really hard, but it's just good to embrace all of it and just know that you're going to see the light at some point and realize you just can't give up, And if you made it this far, just keep going. You're right there. You're so close. And so, and then on another side, I had a lot of personal goals for myself, and I just knew that I wanted to be this person, and I wanted to grow and be my best version of myself. And so I didn't want to let myself down, and I didn't want to let other people down. And I just know that you can do it, and it might be hard now, but it's so worth it. Something I would say to a student who doesn't think it's possible to make it in college is that, yes, college is really scary, but it's not. College, it's really forgiving. You can go part-time, you can go full-time, you can just take a few classes here and there, but I think it's really important to know that they're gonna work with you. Professors, college, other resources, they're here to help you, and you just need to take advantage of that. And so it doesn't matter if you get your college degree in 3 years or 7 years, as long as you get it. And so, they make time for you. I promise they do. And if they don't, shame on them. But I just think that you just have to build courage and strength and resilience to get through college, and it's very possible. And just think about where you were, 2 years ago, thinking like you're gonna go to college, and now you're thinking it's not possible. But if you keep continuing and get through college, you could possibly or potentially be the first person to do it in your family. I think that's super, super cool. And that, all of the younger kids and your brothers and your sisters and everyone else behind you, you just paved a way for them and you made it easier for them. I think that's super special and that's super awesome. And, you help the next generation. I think that's really where it comes down to, is that you could be a role model, and who knows, you could be sitting in my position talking to Avery about college in the next few years. So I think that's pretty cool.